A bit of a special edition of the Deep Dive this morning, actually being round 6. Obviously, you get 6 points for a goal. We're all going to go through our favourite goal and our best goal of all time at the end of this Deep Dive, which should be exciting. But round 6, number 6, we're going to go through the best number 6s, and mine is Tony Modra. We've figured this guy in a lot of our Deep Dive moments, but let's take a look at some of these highlights. And we all know the great marks, unbelievable leap. And as I said, he's a player growing up that I love watching most. But what about some of the goals he's kicked? So we focus here a lot on some of these moments, and just his ability to turn players inside out, Kane, and just snap the ball across his body was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's had a great ability off the ground as well. He's a great soccer player. Like, he could almost, kick freakish goals there, but just the uncanny ability to find the goals. Wasn't a big player at all. Like, he's probably 184 centimetres. So to play key position and to do some of this stuff, sit on heads, is still my favourite player to this day.
And he was a great player for Fremantle as well when they weren't a great side either, which proved what a champion he was.
Eddie Maguire and I have a great affection for this bloke. He was an absolute idol back in our childhood, and that's, of course, the great Peter McKenna. Look at that, 6'3", pretty agile, and he was, you talk about like poster boys, he was on Hey Hey at Saturday on a Saturday morning. He had a hit record. He had an unbelievable book, My World of Football, which came out, which I've still got and I treasure greatly. He was just an absolute freak. He really was.
Just a good bloke, TJ.
Oh, lovely bloke.
The whole way through.
Yeah, lovely bloke. And a former panellist here on the Sunday Footy Show. And a great commentator too in his heyday at Channel 7. But his average, Llordo, 4.58. That's extraordinary, isn't it?
And just a beautiful technical kick as well. So I love listening to Peter talk about the art of goal kicking.
But because it hasn't changed that much, has it?
No, it hasn't.
No.
One of my great teammates was Brad Johnson, and he is the nicest guy I've ever played with at football, and he was just a superstar. He kicked 40-plus goals 7 times, Brad Johnson, 364 games, but he also kicked 558 goals. Now, he started out as a bona fide midfielder on the wing, but they realised how good he could do this. He was so strong in the air. Nobody could go with him in the air for his size. So pound for pound, one of the strongest players in the competition. What set him apart was he was not only endurance-based, but he was also really fast off the mark. And as I said at the top, one of the great men of AFL football is Brad Johnson.
The success of the Geelong Footy Club was not yet realised until this man, Brad Ottens, got to it. Sorry, Kane. This is 2007 grand final. And the famous chase down in that particular game. And it all just came together the moment he arrived at the footy club. They were probably tracking toward the success they got in the 7, 9 and 11 premierships, but again, he could do pretty much anything, having travelled across from Richmond, and they sought him, got him and reaped the benefits of it.
Yeah, he was a fantastic player for Geelong where he reached his potential. Now, let's look at the great round 6 moments. And this one is probably the most famous home and away game maybe we've seen. It was Salmon down one end and Gary Ablett down the other. Let's take a look at the scoreline here. It was Essendon won 23 goals 18, 156. To Geelong, 19-18, 132. Ablett's kicked 14 goals 7. And Salmon down the other end has kicked 10 goals 6. That's one of the great marks I've ever seen. They had to throw James Hird back on him. I think he had about 5 opponents. Danaher, all these different types. Derek Kickett had a crack at him. What an amazing, phenomenal... That's when footy, I reckon, was at its best around this era of footy.
Agree with that, Llordo. And one of the more emotionally charged round 6 moments was when Wayne Carey was playing for Adelaide and he went back to play against his former side, North Melbourne, after all that had gone on, and Glenn Archer and Anthony Stevens attacking him. I remember sitting at home watching this game. It was just enthralling. Like, you just gripped to the TV about how North Melbourne went after him and just the emotion that boiled over. TJ, were you on the boundary?
Yes, I was, yeah. And I remember, it was electrifying. Yeah, and you just waited for this. And it was just so confrontational and so much, history which had built up to the match. And it was just incredible, the atmosphere in Telstra Dome at that particular time.
And I set you all the challenge of naming your best 6-pointer that you've ever seen in the game of AFL football. I'll start, and it's Malcolm Blight's goal there against Carlton. So he takes this mark on Sellers McClure. He's already kicked 2 goals previous to this in the last quarter. They were gone there. You see the body language of North thinking, we're going to lose this. He needs to kick a goal after the siren.
Into row 15.
Into row 15. How far do you reckon that's gone, Damo?
85. 85
metres. And look at that. I reckon he would have enjoyed it, Blighty, being on the shoulder, saying on the back. Still done.
Yeah, that's my favourite goal too, Lloydie, but you stole that one for me. My second favourite's this one, and it again just shows the skills of this man. And poor old Hooksy chasing Big Buddy on the wing here at the MCG. I mean, this just was at the peak of Buddy mania, and brazenly just run as he did and then take the shot on and drill it. Again, it's iconic imagery.
Iconic.
And I love this goal because it just doesn't get enough credit. We don't speak about it enough. And you never see it again. So rarely do you ever see someone bouncing from half-back and kick a goal because of the frontal pressure now. But Daniel Kerr was a great player. Well, he's just a really good player, part of that forced him at the Eagles in midfield. Like, that's freakish. We'll never see goals like that again because of the pressure that comes to the front and all teams pressing up.
OK, now you talk about great bouncing goals. None greater than this one from back in 1994. The great Mick McGuan. Watch him go. He's just an absolute freak. Look at him there. He dodges one and then thinks to himself, I can keep going here. So he just keeps bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Have we got the commentary here?
5.
Great goal.
5 bounces. Nearly get another one. Round he goes.
7.
In he goes to an open goal.
Yeah, Mickey! So good.
I was there that day, TJ, and that's the loudest I've ever heard a crowd, as I was there for this next one as well. I'm going to take you back to 2003.
No.
I got off the chain from Rioli, just on the wrong foot, on the boundary line. I had nothing there. And so I just thought I'd just kick the goal.
You're out of bounds.
Nearly out of bounds, Damo, but there wasn't a lot of daylight there to do that. But, yeah, that was
Is that when you were the best player in the comp?
no, that was a different year.
Great goal.
That was at Richmond.
That is a
Mate, that was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.